whole program, which was an important program of educating young people in our community. So as we think about all the many people who are in our midst, Ruth Batson is clearly one of those people that we should be thinking about. This afternoon, I'm very glad to introduce to you Rhodessa Jones. I've kind of mentioned her name to you a few times through the day. Rhodessa is a storyteller. She's a performer. She is a director. She is the co-artistic director of Cultural Odyssey. Rhodessa has been with us for this whole week. She has been doing a number of seminars and fora with our students, with our faculty, and with our staff. Last night, she did a session with the young people that I was telling you about, the young people from the Blackstone Community Center who are going to be doing some storytelling and who are learning storytelling and who will be doing their event with us on the 30th. And I encourage you to come back and see what those young people have to say about their lives. The thing that I would say, again, as I've mentioned to you about all of the other presenters, is that Rhodessa is someone very special. But before I say those last things about her, what I need you to know is a big thank you to the people who have been so instrumental in making this week with her work. And in particular, I want to call out Professor Jen Beard, Emily Barbeau, and Ty Furman from the rest of the campus. The other place, 1BU, right? We are 1BU. So thank you to Ty and Emily and Jen for putting together the work with Rhodessa. Rhodessa is here. She is super talented. She is raw. She is a force. She is a powerhouse. And I am glad to introduce to you Rhodessa Jones.
Oh, pirates, just a rabbi, stole I from the merchant ships. Minutes after they take I from the bottomless pit. But my hands were made strong, made by the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I've ever had. Redemption songs, songs of freedom. Emancipate your none but ourselves. Have no fear for a. Only them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets? Go ahead, Boston. Come on. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I've ever had. Redemption songs, songs of freedom, songs of freedom. Good afternoon. I am Rhodessa, the daughter of Estella, the granddaughter of Flossie and Anna, the mother of Sandra Lee, and the grandmother of Chaz Nicole. And today I want to honor my father. I am the 8th child of Augustus Jones, Sr. Coming here, last night I was lying in bed and thinking, okay, I did a fabulous show the other night and y'all missed it. I showed out the other night, okay? And with costumes, the whole thing. But I was thinking about how do I honor my father as we talk about, inequities and the struggle to stay alive in certain communities. And I was always lucky that I had my father. So a lot of people don't have their fathers. But I always had my father, and he was there to encourage me, to help me toe the line, crack me across the butt when I got crazy, but Daddy was there. Now, these are stories that I heard from him and his brothers. I listened. I love listening to black men talk. This is from a piece I made entitled The Blue Stories, Black Erotica on Letting Go. Bam, 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 Clem! Clem! It's Archie! What you mean, lower my voice? I'm telling you, they was Hanks. What do you mean happened? Well, we had the niggers strung up, right? Yes, we did. And then out of nowhere, these demons from hell ride in and shoot up the place. We were scared. They shot up the place, and that was a crackerjack shot because he shot the rope, the nigger heads for the fire, and another one rides this way and grabs the nigger, and they all fly out. I don't know if it was Haints. I don't know if it was Indians. Maybe it was, nah, ain't no nigger gonna break up no lynching party. Ain't no nigger gonna break up no lynching party. Working with incarcerated women, I work across the world. The Rockefeller Foundation gave my company, Cultural Odyssey, money for the MEDEA project, Theater for Incarcerated Women, to examine a captive's conversation about race. And this was one of the pieces that blew my mind. And I think it's very appropriate for this afternoon. Everyone wants to be one, but nobody wants to be one. That should be a criteria for being a nigga. A nigga meaning down, meaning macking, meaning packing, meaning hard, meaning you my nigga. What up, nigga? Nigga, please. First, to be a nigga, you have to have been a nigger at some point. Meaning being treated like a nigger. Meaning last hired, first fired nigger. Meaning 911 ain't sending nobody, nigger. Meaning last welcome, first followed, nigger. Meaning driving under the influence of Africa, nigger. Meaning living the blues, whether you can sing them or not, nigger. Meaning death row, nigger. You can't just put on some baggy pants and carve a swoosh in your head and call yourself a nigger. A nigger got a nigger's game and a nigger's pain rolled up in a word we all should be tired of by now, but we're not. Our children use it incessantly. Everybody uses it. And now, a nigger's the thing to be, whether you've been a nigger or not. So those of us who are in danger of niggerly treatment from Corn Belt wannabe niggas, meaning people who package an insult and sell it back to us, yes, them. Those of us who have been niggers for real, meaning against our own definition, might as well take power over the word since it won't go away. Meaning taking power over our image. Meaning setting our own standards of niggerdom. Meaning if we're the niggers, then we should reap all the benefits of nigger-ishness. Meaning cash. Meaning money takes the grr out of nigger. And you can call yourself a nigger if you must, but you need to pay props to us ex-cotton-picking niggers for the honor. You need nigger certification. And of course, nobody's tired of this word yet. We too busy making it all nigger good. Like, if everyone's a nigger, then no one will notice that we're the niggers in this woodpile and being treated as such. Meaning, ain't that some nigger shit, nigga? And when the play niggas get tired or older or have kids or buy a house, what reason will they give for not wanting to live anywhere near no real, authentic, niggified, niggerish niggers or niggas? they will grow up and on to another fashion craze. And once that happens, a nigger will be what a nigger has always been, meaning a nigger. Nigger. That's Nancy Johnson. Thank you. My mother and my father used to say, if you're going to be a thief, be a good one. I'm a poor man, I can't help you. You go to jail, you're on your own. I'm a poor man. And he'd say, if you're going to carry a gun, you better know how to use it, because you're going to have to use it. That's the spirituality of having a weapon. My mother said, be a woman, don't be no dress. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I come from this family. The first little bit I did was a series of, Toni Morrison wrote about it in Song of Solomon, The Days, which was a group of black men who broke up lynching parties. And all my life I heard it from my father. And we thought, oh, Daddy just tripping. No. As I got older, that was one of the things about my father. He was easygoing. He was like that nigger that sat at the door. Was it the spook that sat by the door? My father was Long, Tall Jones that sat by the liquor still, because my father would watch the liquor stills for the bootleggers. That was how he made money, so he could pay these dudes to go with him and break up lynching parties. But my father would ease into his other life after guarding their liquor stills. And he broke up lynching parties. And he just said, somebody got to do something. And I guess as I was hearing today about resilience, I just wanted to remind you that it's been going on for a long time. Resilience has been growing for a long time. My big sister used to say, if they call you a nigger, you tell them that they're black. We used to do this because I went to a country school, upstate New York. There were not that many black people there. And so I'd go into this school, and somebody would get a bug up their butt and decide they're going to call you a nigger or black. And if they called you black, you just said, well, you're a nigger. And it made people cry. I am not. Yes, you are. You acting like a nigger. I am not. Yes, you are. Resilience. As Morrison also said, I always knew I had the higher ground with people. I always knew that you would want to know me. You don't want to know me? You're missing out, because I'm all that. And I got something to share with you all the time. You don't want to know me, you're a fool. You should know me. And I remember just growing up, and my mother was that way. My mother would say, keep your head up and don't laugh and grin so much, and definitely do not laugh so loud around white men that they can see down your throat and between your legs. Don't be no fool for nobody, as Stella said. And Daddy would say, well, that's your mama. Your mama talking. Your mama's talking. Listening to all the folks talking this morning, I've always been an outsider. I'm an artist. I'm an artist, I'm a social scientist. I got called into the jails to do this work, and I was very curious about what it all meant to be working in jails with women. They said, would you go in and teach aerobics to incarcerated women? And I thought, what does aerobics have to do with saving the lives of women? But I went in, and I was amazed at the amount of women who looked like me, and then brown women. And let me just get one thing straight right now. You can take this home with you. There's a difference between people of color and colored people. You feel me? And there's a difference between women of color and colored women. You feel me? Colored women, we are our own thing. And don't get stupid and don't mess around. Because I can take the wig off that piece of hair and pick up one of these shoes and beat you to death with it. Because I'm just that angry, you know? So listening to today and thinking about the inequalities of 400 years of inequalities, and I was thinking, okay, what can I contribute from my list of greatest hits? I write about everything. I look at everything. So today I wanted to share with you some more of my own history. You know, I didn't know it, but I look Asian, you know. People come up to me and they'll say, are you so-and-so? No, I'm not. I'm not that person, but there are people that mistake me for Asian African. And it all began for me, I wrote a piece entitled Talking to Ghosts. My father's family looks like Asian people. They're very yellow and golden and soft hair, but this is a piece entitled Talking to Ghosts. Leaving Hong Kong, waiting to board the plane, I'm dying for a cigarette. But alas, I have no matches. Looking up from my bag, I see 4 Chinese women coming towards me. Possibly a daughter, an aunt, a mother, and a grandmother. They see me as I see them, and their faces are filled with curiosity. And once again, I'm wearing my favorite Norma Kamali dress. And I'm wearing extensions a la China cut, you know, like a bang here and it's cut down like this. I looked really cute because I was really, really cute. So, and I give them a big bright smile. And because I'm from San Francisco, I assume they can speak English. And I inquire politely, does anyone have a match? By now they've encircled me. The youngest of the group is pointing at my braids. And everyone is speaking at once in a language I do not understand. Out of the corner of my eye, a gentleman has joined our group, and he begins to interpret. They like your braids, he says. I smile and say, thank you. He translates. They're very close to me, studying my braids and my hair, opening my clothes, and they're talking about me. By now, a large crowd has gathered in this airport in Hong Kong. The interpreter informs them that they want to know, why did you do your hair like that? They want to know, how long did it take you to do your hair? And where are you from? And I tell them, I'm from San Francisco. They say, no, no, no. For real, true story. You're from Vietnam. You're one of the dark daughters from the war, the old lady tells the man to tell me. Remember? They stand all eyes glued on me, eyes full of questions, compassion, and each one wearing a tiny little smile. And I'm moved, I'm thrilled, I burst out laughing. The youngest one hands me a box of matches, and all of us are sharing an uncertain joke. And I repeat, I'm from San Francisco. I've been on holiday in Asia. And while I speak, the grandmother and the great-grandmother are pushing forward to hear the interpretation. The youngest woman explains my answer to the older woman, and they turn to leave. Blowing smoke, because I got my match now, I'm smoking. I smile and say, a la American, thanks a lot. I witnessed the oldest speak to the interpreter very emphatically. He beams at me, looking me in the eyes. She says, stop telling stories. Stop telling tales. You are the dark daughter. You're from Vietnam. Go home. Your family misses you. They need you. Then single file, ducks in a row, they walk away. And the last one, the oldest one, turns and looks at me and goes, true story. You can clap. I love clapping. I love it. Now, the next story I'm going to read for you is entitled China Lane. And China Lane is based on my family's history of possible bloodlines in in Georgia. So I am, I have an aunt that's very, very, like I said, my father's sisters are very, very light-skinned. And this is entitled China Lane, if I can find it, my lovelies. China Lane is a cultural investigation. I have examined a family recipe and perused the variations on the spelling of my maternal grandmother's name as memory. My maternal grandmother, her name was Lee, L-E-I-G-H, and it was also Lee, L-E-E, and then in one particular place it was Lee, L-I. China Lane is a story I wrote for Cultural Odysseys, Raining Down Stars. Again, the Rockefeller Foundation wanted us to examine mixing bloodlines in America. You ready? I usually have my musician Idris, who's fabulous, but he's not here today. So. It's raining in China Lane. Big fat puddles lay lazily in the way. Sheer sheets of water fall, curtains of water. There's a black girl. Maybe her name is Maddie, the first in a long line of Maddies. She moves purposely, carrying bundles of cloth, somebody's shirts, sheets, frilly, fancy things, Miss Cannon's cans, Miss Cannon can, they gonna need special attention, she's muttering to herself. Maddie is the daughter of Doll, Dark Doll's daughter. She's unaware of the fussing and fighting in the middle of China Lane. The war is over and folks are frisky. Scallywags and free-colored men are struggling with words. The large-boned, barefooted colored girl, Maddie, Big Doll's daughter, is jolted awake at the commotion. There are shots. Horses are bucking, struggling to run. She's blinded by the rain, the smell of smoke, the anger. Too many men this one afternoon. Too many men screaming and yelling at each other this one afternoon. Can't be caught in the rain. Can't be weighed down with white folks' laundry in the middle of China Lane in this faraway old Clay County of Georgia. The voices are louder. The horses complain. One shies, bucks, shuffles nervously. She looks through the rain. Where to run? The Chinaman store. The shack at the end of the red clay road. Hurrying. Sweating, scared of men, afraid of angry horses, she rushes and stumbles, falls into the warm room. There are buckets of tubs. And benches. The fireplace glows, and the only sound, bubbly starches, gurgling, boiling, responding to the dancing flames. A yellow man turns and softly stares at this dark daughter of Doll. Caught. She stands back and stares back at this yellow man with eyes like half moons. He has been watching the quarrel from a crack between the wooden slats. Shh. He signals for her to be quiet. She's aware of a bowl of rice near his thigh. He calmly offers her a seat. It's dark inside the Chinese wash house. The fireplace glows like a big lamp. She sits her bundle down. He offers her a clean rag. She wipes her face, her arms, her hands, her feet. He's watching this big-boned black girl. They're safe here in China Lane, being neither black nor white men. She smiles. He offers her a bowl of steaming tea. The bowl is so white against her chocolate hands. Her face is met with flowers. Drink, he whispers. The tea is brown and lovely. No sugar, just warm flowers that's flooding her insides. She closes her eyes inside this Chinese wash house. He's moving. She senses his actions. He is moving silently away to the back of the shack. The smell of garlic and the sea is everywhere with a hint of ginger sharp. Her eyes fill with tears. A fool, why you gonna cry now, she asks herself. The man is taller than she remembers, this Chinese man. He stands before her. Their knees almost touch. He hands her a bowl of rice with plump, sweet shrimp, flecked with bits of green onion, and the brown sauce is swimming and peeking around the edges of the bowl, and she is hungry. The rain, the wash, the running has made her so hungry. He looks at her. He watches her, inspects his food. Satisfied that she's comfortable, he picks up his bowl and goes back to watch through the wooden slat out into the open, and silently they eat. She sneaks, glances at his long fingers. Not really yellow at all. They be blush pink like the season's first peaches. He got hands the color of peaches. The bits of ginger peck at her tongue. The rice stands alone, each grain to itself. She almost laughs out loud. Now, where did he learn to cook rice like this? She gonna have to tell Mama all about it. Dreamlike, the shrimp pops under the pressure of her teeth. She looks at his thighs and giggles. He turns and pours more tea. Brown tea tasting like white flowers. Her dress is alive against her breast. She stretches and likes the sleepiness of it all. It's raining in China Lane, and she be here drinking flowers and breathing garlic and ginger, and the sweet shrimp fills her mouth so fleshy. What did he put in that brown sauce? There's a funny feeling dancing just below her navel. She laughs softly. He turns at the sound and nods gently and pours more tea. A shot rings out. The Chinaman moves quickly from the window, moves swiftly to check the door as bolts it. Is he scared? What has happened? Dogs are barking. Men are snarling in the rain. There's a storm raging outside. There's a storm raging outside. There's a storm raging outside. The rain is pouring down between the rivers, between the rocks in China Lane. Is he scared? What has happened? Dogs are barking. Men are snarling in the rain. There's a storm raging. And he turns to her and says, "Stay here. Trouble outside, Missy. A white man is shot." Missy, you stay. Much trouble on this rainy day. Rain is pounding down outside, pouring into the ridges between the rocks in China Lane. You stay. There's much trouble on this rainy day. A white man is shot. Mr. Lee, are we all gonna go to jail? Is somebody dead? The sound of horses. Feet are running every which way, hurrying every which way. She goes to the window. The lights are dying in all the other houses around her. Everybody's locking their door. The Chinaman say, "The sheriff, he be coming soon." Riding through China Lane. You stay, Missy. Mr. Lee, what's going to happen? Is we all going to jail? My God, Mr. Lee, you think these white folks is going to kill us all? Is you scared? He's quiet. He watches the window. She watches him. What do a Chinaman say if they come? There ain't never been no reason to come to China Lane. Listen, you live there. I'm not using it that you was mongrel people. Now a white man is lying dead in China Lane. Another shot rings out. Mr. Lee, I want to go home. Oh, Mama Doll's things. Mr. Lee, I want to go home. You stay, Missy. A white man is dead in China Lane. Much trouble on this rainy day. I want to go home. I want to go home, Mr. Lee. No, Missy, you stay. There's a white man lying dead in the rain in China Lane. Another shot rings out. Mr. Lee, I want to go home. Please, Mr. Lee, please, Mr. Lee. Mama, they going to be worrying after me. She's trying to gather her things. She hurries to the door. You stay, Missy. He gently holds her away from the door. Please, Mr. Lee. They be coming and I should be home before it gets too dark. The words fly out of her mouth like birds. She's crying. A large-boned girl, but still only a girl, crying. He looks at her and touches her dark face smoothingly, and he says again, "You safe here, Missy. You be safe in China Wash House." She stumbles, she's crying, no legs. She melts into the floor. He silently pats her head. Such a strange texture, this black woolly hair. So many braids, damp, musty hair. And they are both on the floor, sitting in a pile of freshly laundered sheets. She realizes she's so close that he really is the color of peaches. She giggles. He got peach fuzz on his face, his neck, his chest. He blushes orange cream like the season's first peaches. They are both laughing. His hand finds her knees. They are rich, dark, coffee-like colored knees. And they are no longer on China Lane. There is no danger outside, no death. There's only life as these two children lie down amongst the sheets and find each other. His lips are round. with strong teeth as he finds her nipples. Pink lips encircle chocolate nipples, and neither are afraid. The storm plays like a great big band. The horses clatter through, and there are many voices like a choir. While she reaches under his tunic, seeking the top of his trousers, they're dancing in the Chinese wash house. He climbs over her. She opens, and it's raining in China Lane. Falling asleep, they're awakened by the sound of crashing of broken windows and hot black smoke. The shack next door is burning. Hurriedly, she dresses. He runs to the back of the shack, hands her a giant parasol made of wax paper. This is a Chinese umbrella. You go to the backwoods, Missy. Hurry, Missy, go. She's wanting to say thank you. Thank you for everything. The shrimp, the rice, the brown sauce, the tea, the touching. She's wanting to say she's never done that before. And she is glad to be him for the first time. Is he scared? She can't read his face. He gently pushes her out the back door. There are fires everywhere. China Lane is burning. Hurry, Missy! Go! Hurry! She falls onto the path. Into the path, into the wet woods. She's hurting, lonely, angry, sad, filled with a sadness that will last a lifetime. The Chinaman. What's going to happen to the Chinaman? She stops at the edge of the dark woods, turns in time to see men on horses throwing flambeaux, torches into the Chinese wash house. It explodes like a dollhouse. She begins to run for her life, back to Mama Doll and old Matt Lee. Blind Matt Lee, her grandmother, who would smell the Chinaman on her. In 9 months, Matt Lee would say to her, "Girl, we gonna name this baby China Lee." Thank you. How we doing? How we doing? I like to stop and ask questions now, so because we got a whole other section, right, that we're going to do with them. Any questions? You better hey, come on now. I'm up here busting my butt. Come on, y'all. Any questions about what you've seen? Does it make sense? I hope it helps with this 400 years of inequities. Okay, we're going to move on. What we're going to do right now, we're going to open this up. This is going to be like, can you imagine, this is the seats. You can come up here and you can respond to anything that happened today. Anything that happened today. But if you're up here, you got to talk now. You can't be up here looking cute. You got to talk, okay? But we want your feedback, because there was so much going on today that a lot of people they didn't get any words in Edgeway. So please come up if you have something you want to ask or say. All right, Miss Woman, I see you.
Do I need to see?
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Yes, anybody else? Come. I'll sit here until somebody else comes. Come. Remember, this is your chance to respond to this whole day. Don't be afraid. There's no conclusions. You can't be wrong. We're just talking to each other. Good. Let's hear it for the women. See, the women are coming up. Somebody else? Anybody else is coming up? Come on. This is your chance to respond to anything that you saw today or heard or you have an opinion about. There are no conclusions. You can speak when you want to, and then you can leave. Okay, let's start. Let's start with, she's got the microphone. You go ahead, Miss Woman. Let's hear you. Let's hear, we're going to talk about, you can tell us anything. You can talk about anything.
For me, as a Black queer woman living in Boston, it's emotionally and physically exhausting talking about this consistently and not having the support. Our experiences are real. We're not making it up. Like from 400 years ago to now, it's the same stuff. I'm trying not to swear, so I'm being mindful of that in this space that we have. And then the work that I do, I'm a holistic health and wellness educator. I worked for the city of Boston, specifically in the Health Commission, doing the work of infectious disease and looking at the disparities and bringing it to their attention, to people with power and the ability to shift and change that, and not doing it multiple times. So screaming to the top of my lungs, or now I'm the difficult black lady that nobody wants to work with because I keep pointing out the shit that nobody is, no one, you all see it.
Yeah.
So I'm just really frustrated. This institution, on a whole, like many other institutions, you're in a mecca. You're in Boston. You are surrounded by black and brown people, and to be a part of the solution is what's needed. So to really get involved with the community. I live in Dorchester. I worked in the emergency room here for 3 years, taking care of black and brown people. I have seen more people die than the number of years I've been alive. I just turned 37. Nobody checks on me. So white people, you guys need to be better. Like, some of you don't have a problem sitting down and talking to me, but you need to be able to enter spaces that you're not comfortable with and really deal with this. Like, we have to carry so much pain, and I know about your cultures and the things that you like. Why can't you unlearn white supremacy and unlearn your bias? I have to do it for work to fit in spaces. So why is it so difficult for you guys to tap in to empathy, just to feel, to watch the news and see us being murdered? Like, why do you need a reason behind half the shootings that we're not even doing, and sitting in our house eating ice cream, playing video games with our kids? I don't get it. And I need to know why you're
Please,
not helping.
anybody else? There's another chair if you want to respond. It's
That's
just
it.
a
I just, like,
conversation.
we're past allyship. We need accomplices and co-conspirators. So you guys need to, like, help.
Somebody else jump in.
Well, sort of segueing into that, for me, I'm an immigrant. I get really angry. When I'm angry, I cry. Sometimes I just, I step away. But like, for me, I think that, I am thankful that, in a way, for me, it's like a first world problem for me to, like, be able to cry, in this space. It's like, not a big deal in the big concept of things, but, my pain is real at the end of the day. But I guess what I wanted to add to the conversation is that, I think for, like, a comment for future reference would be to, like, invite students that aren't from BU. I think, for me, I always, my educational journey has been informal in so many ways. I have a bachelor's, but I had to go first to community college, which is mostly, people of color who first go to community college. I'm a big push, I support wholeheartedly free college education, especially public education. And, I just want to acknowledge that being in the space is a privilege in so many ways, because though, like, we're preaching to the choir, and a lot of our experiences are resonate with a lot of us, I also think that it would be nice for the students in, at Roxbury Community College or Bunker Hill, or to be included as part of this conversation.
Please. Anybody else? I can move. There are no conclusions, really. We're just responding to the day. So please feel free. Carry on.
I grew up in California, and in many ways, people say that California is so progressive. But personally, in my life, I've dealt with a lot of brutality being a woman of color in this country. And I've been followed and cursed at for being a minority. And it's really difficult because people don't understand what it means to be followed and stereotyped by other males because I'm a woman of color. And so thank you so much for everyone putting on this event, because a lot of people don't understand that stress that I had for at least 7 to 10 years of my childhood. And so thank you so much for everyone speaking out about this, because I don't think people understand the brutality of like being an immigrant in this country, being a woman in this country, or the fact that people culturally appropriate your stuff and get away with it. And I've seen that, and because of our white supremacy culture, it's let go of a lot of times. And I think this discussion was very important to hear and discuss and share with everyone, and I guess I'm really grateful that BU puts on events like this.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hi. I'm just really grateful to be in this space right now. I'm glad we're really talking about this important topic. And one of the things that we were talking about today was education. And I just wanted to throw a thought out there, and if anyone had any reactions, they can respond. But again, it's great that we're talking about these 400 years and the inequity that lies within these 400 years. But something that I've been thinking about a lot is history, and you have to learn history to be able to build a better future. Again, one of the things I've been thinking about a lot is thinking about history in a comprehensive way in schools and teaching our children about history in a comprehensive way, talking about the roots of inequity and the isms and why they exist today. Because again, if we want to make a better future, we have to know the past. So something that I've been thinking about a lot. I think that a lot of people are unaware, right, of how these root causes of inequity came to be, and why they still persist today. I think maybe not a solution, but somewhere to start is really trying to teach our children, who are the future, of this country, future of the world, about why, for example, you're being made fun of because of the way that you look. Something that was hard for me when I was younger was, going to predominantly white settings, school, places to play. I was, made fun of because of who I was, and I didn't really understand why that was until, later on in my life, just doing my own research. I think if we're able to teach our youth about these things at a younger age, bring that awareness of, why these injustices are, it will be the starting point to, make a better future for us all. So, just want to say that.
Anybody else want to join the conversation? This is your chance. 400 years of inequities. Thank you so much, all of y'all, for just checking in, There's no conclusions, but it's good to hear us all speak on it, There's a lot that was said today. And the whole idea of research, I would say white people, do more research about black people and brown people. I have some friends, but they're Asian, but they come and they'll get a degree in African American theater. They will do that, where it's like we're at this place now where we got to really, really show concern and be involved. We have to be involved with what we're doing, and we can't worry about people's feelings. That's over. We have to be willing to talk to each other. But I thank you guys for coming. Shall we just, y'all are missing. I don't know what to say, Boston. But thank you so much. Thank y'all so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
I love what
Thank you. I got him in Africa. Yes. Thank you.
You should see if there's another round of folks who want to come.
You want to come up? More people? Come on. Y'all can come on up now. They're like, you got to be out of your mind, man. All right, here comes some people. Here comes a lady. She's a lady. Anybody else? Come on. Come on. Please, come on. Anybody else? Come on. I like the men. Is there any more men who are going to come up? Have your say, my loves.
Hi, everyone. I'm shaking because I hate public speaking, so don't mind me. I work here full-time. My name's Camille, and I take classes like as a non-degree student in the School of Public Health, so that's really fun. As I've been navigating kind of the more academic world of attempting to be radical, it like really frustrates me that, it really frustrates me that I can't be radical in class, and that a lot of times I'm hearing people talk and I'm like, are we still like discussing, you know, X, Y, and Z? And it sounds very, I don't want to sound elitist, like people have their experiences and people have to move through things, but as a Black woman, it's like, what, did you just really ask like why people get treated a certain way, or are we still like on the isms? And so it's hard to be in spaces like that, but I was at your performance on Wednesday. Oh wow.
Thank you.
Rhodessa, the impact that you had on me validated why I go to class. I had to leave because I had class at 6 and I was there until 6:10 and I was like, ugh, I want to stay so bad, but it validated absolutely everything I know and believe, and it reaffirmed to me that just because I don't see myself in certain spaces where I'm at, I'm here for a reason.
Yes.
And even if that one tiny reason was to go to your performance on Wednesday evening and to hear the affirmation that if you're given a space to do something in a community, you don't have to do the aerobics class that they want you to do. You can say, actually, I'm an artist and this is what I believe is going to be most impactful, so I'm going to do this thing and it's going to work. And seeing the video that you had shared completely reaffirmed that if you have like Octavia Spencer said, imagine that we're born with unlimited potential rather than purpose.
Yes.
And your potential is astronomical. And once you really put your energy and your faith in what keeps you waking up every single day behind your life's work, you can't help but have impact. And so I really appreciate, I'm really thankful to you for being here.
Thank you.
you.
It's the artist activist. She's talking about my work with incarcerated women. I was hired to teach aerobics in the city jail in San Francisco. And the women didn't want to do aerobics, but they wanted to talk about who they were and where they'd been. And so I'm so glad you were there. Thank you so much. Thank you. But I talk all the time. Go for it, ladies.
Hi, my name is Heather Lee. I work in the Activist Lab. My parents are missionaries, and that is a complicated heritage to come from. On the one hand, they have a great love for people from all sorts of walks of life. On the other hand, they want to make sure that they all get into heaven through their religion. And if they learn English along the way, that will also advance their political standing in the world. And again, it's complicated. And I know that a lot of people in public health, especially people who are engaged in development work, also face that same complicated situation where you are taking different cultures and advancing a particular view of values, and you're doing it with the belief that you're empowering people, but at the same time you're doing it from your particular cultural perspective, and it gets really weird real fast. So what do? We listen. We shut up. We get input, and we know that we are not the effective actors. Coming into a situation, you're not going to be the effective actor. You're just going to be a person who gives a little bit of information and a couple of resources. So, any thoughts about that?
Please come on.
I'm hoping that's what I'm doing here in the Activist Lab. So, thank you.
I'm grateful to be here today. I'm a children's author, and what I try to do with my books is to try to affect change. As the young man said who was sitting here about how children need to be taught these things. You know, why do people believe and say the things that they say? And that's what I try to do, to try to bring about a difference. When I talk to kids of all races, talking about empathy, standing with your friend, being allies in the experience, whatever the experience is, and just standing with them and know that you can help bring about change. In coming today, I had a chance to speak last week, and I'm grateful to learn about this event because of last week. I had a chance to speak and hear Ruby Mendenhall talk about what she does in Chicago and violence. I was affected by violence because my niece died in April in Chicago. She was at the, she had just gotten off of work. She's a single parent. One of her children, middle age, in like 10 years old. She told him, if you do well on this test, you know, he talked about, I'm gonna do well, Mom, can I get a cell phone? Long story short, she says, yes, you can get a cell phone. So they were literally in the cellular phone store, a new place, glass from top to bottom. There were some young men outside, something happened, a gun was drawn, and shots were fired. And she was standing at the cash register, and the bullet, as well I can understand, went through the middle of her head, her forehead, and her two children were there. And again, she's just trying to do something good for her child, you know, who did some positive things in work, as far as the schoolwork. And so I was so empowered to hear Ruby talk about what she's doing. So I'm leaving and I'm walking through that door and I'm empowered because the things that she told me and things that I know that I can have my nephews, how they can be empowered by some of the things that she's doing. They can be advocates and not be victims, but advocates of things that happen to them, and then how their mother's legacy can continue through them in doing some positive things. And hopefully they will have the chance to go to the University of Illinois one day, at least one of the three, to help and bring about some change to all this craziness sometimes that we shouldn't be able to explain to kids because it makes no sense to us as adults. But I'm empowered, and I'm just grateful that I had a chance to hear Ruby speak today and hear all the other wonderful speakers. So I'm empowered, and not a victim, but I'm empowered. So for that, I'm grateful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so important to hear y'all's voices at the end of a day like this. It's been an amazing day of speakers and information and professional people and the whole idea of study and research, but the people, you know, the people here down on the ground, I just, you know, as an artist, that's where I get my juice, you know, so thank you so much. Anybody else wants to come up? All right. Come on. Here. Thank you. Anybody else come up? Good, great, good. Come on up, good. And it's just a conversation, so just go for it.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm really happy that I got to be here today. It was a very informative and enlightening, 6 hours, I think. It's definitely been worth it. Thank you so much for putting this together. I think one thing that I would like to reiterate is that I understand how, you know, people might be hypersensitive to asking questions and like bringing up these conversations. But and this is mostly directed to the white people who are in this space. But I just wanted to emphasize that you need to ask questions. Like if there's something that you want, like you want to talk about, you want to know more, being silent isn't going to help anybody. Not you, and definitely not the people that your actions affect directly. So please ask questions and, like, you know, respectfully ask questions. And, you know, get clarification and bring up things that might be on your mind relating to race. We need to have these conversations. We need to talk about these things in order to figure out ways forward. Because if you're not talking, it doesn't mean that you don't have all of these misconceptions about people and where they come from and, you know, who they are in your mind. It doesn't mean that that's not there anymore. It just means you're not talking about it, and if you're not talking about it, you're not learning about it. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Jen. I work in public health, and I've been on a journey for the past several years most of my adult life, really, but really very focused in the past several years on re-educating myself, unlearning a lot of the racism that was infused in me as a child, through the education I received and through being a white person walking in this world. And I just, to me, I feel like, thank you for saying ask questions, and I agree. And I also say to myself all the time, like, think about who I'm asking questions of, and think about where I'm going for information. And I've been reading so much, and I've been listening and just learning to listen and learning to just sit in a room. And I know I'm talking right now, but I feel like that's a message that I didn't get for a really, really long time, is to just sit back and listen and explore and learn. And so now I'm raising 2 white children, one of whom is a boy, and thinking about the way that he's going to walk through this world. He might have 2 moms, and that might make him a little different, but when he presents in the world, he's just going to be a white man, and he's going to have so much privilege. And so trying to think about how to teach my kids, especially my son, how to recognize that privilege, not feel bad about himself, but how to be an accomplice and be somebody in this world who can actually lead to some change. It's such a daunting task, but I feel like it's something that I really want to take on, and I really appreciate everyone here, and I loved the fact that the majority of people who were up here today were not white, and that was amazing. And so I'm going to stop talking now, but this is an incredible opportunity, and thank you so much for your work.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, sorry. Yeah, thank you all for being here, and thank you for everybody sharing. Something that I heard earlier this week was in terms of reparations and in terms of thinking about this topic is you can't piecemeal this thing. You can't give or think things are too radical, or especially when you hear other people's perspectives. And the gentleman that said that this can be taught at an early age and a young age, and the fact that we're all continuously learning about how to respect others and be a good person in this world. I think just in terms of thinking holistically and thinking, unfortunately I wasn't here for the earlier portion of today's event, but thinking in terms of what does it mean to do something and then move forward from it in terms of reparations or in terms of economics, giving an official apology. There's things that we can do that can move us forward, but in the process, continuously learning and being present for these conversations and people's experiences that they've given.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. My name is Kayla. I'm a second-year MPH student here, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous because the last time I spoke to a big group of people was during my Ignite presentation, so if you're an SPH student and know the struggle. But bear with me as I tell like a little bit of a story, and I kind of lose my thoughts a little bit, because if anyone has seen Up, I'm kind of like the dog, Doug, and when he sees a squirrel, he's like, squirrel, and that's kind of me. So please bear with me as I share this. So this morning, I woke up to a text message from my sister, and I have 2 younger sisters, and I'm the oldest, and we're all a year apart. And our undergraduate institution is the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And the reason why I bring this story is because I want to highlight some of the things that are still going on, especially outside of the Boston space. And her text message was, "Dang, UW-Madison is getting out of hand." And I didn't know what she meant until I scrolled up and saw a picture of Science Hall, which is an academic building at UW-Madison. People say it's haunted because they had cadaver labs there, but it's just a regular institutional building. And on the sign where it says Science Hall in big black bold letters read whites only. And this just happened, I think, last night. And I want to bring this to the attention because it's frustrating that there aren't spaces like this that exist outside, and if there are, people who are usually in these spaces want to be here, want to learn about it. And so I'm sharing this story because I think it's not necessarily our job to educate people about these issues, but I think we have some type of smaller social responsibility to bring people that don't necessarily want to be in this space or who don't know about this space into, our community to learn about these things. And if that means dragging them here and convincing them, hey, there's free food, like let's drag them here and open up the conversation. So thank you, BUSPH, for hosting this and opening our eyes to a little bit more today.
Thank you all for, we've been talking about resilience all day, and I feel like this is really like the rituals and the rigor of resilience for us to be up here. Where are we going? And it's great that we're all talking about what we're thinking, what we're feeling. So rock on, as they say. And we own the future, okay? I feel we do. All right. Well, thank you all. I guess, what time is it? About 10 minutes? Oh, I can show the film. Are we ready to show the film, the MEDEA Project Theater for Incarcerated Women? This is entitled Birthright. Who's on the film? Is somebody on it? Okay. Birthright, this is one of my latest projects with women. But my work is about women finding their voices so that we will be ready to manage our part of the future, which women hold up at least half the sky. So, and we're maintaining the clouds. So this is the MEDEA Project's Birthright. And we were in collaboration with Planned Parenthood and incarcerated women. So please, hopefully we have a little time to talk about it. But lights, we ready?
What am I? Who and what have I become?
Homeless, strung out, pregnant, stripper. Addicted to meth, heart sick with the needle. I broke my own heart standing on the corner, selling my precious body. Broken, breaking heart.
I never thought I could break my own heart. But I have, over and over again.
I never thought I would be doing anything like this. Never entered my mind that I would be doing anything like this.
I broke my own heart when I let a man do things to me that I really didn't want him to do.
It was like I was in a nightclub, and I was just, like I was singing the blues, telling the story.
But you see, I was on drugs, and he was supplying. I got pregnant, had an abortion, and he OD'd.
Who are these women? And what? What are they to you? To you? To you?
Women are fabulous creatures. We're scary. We're much scarier than men. I mean, we really are, And you just and then the power. How do we put women in touch with their power?
She's our mama. She's your lover. That woman's a woman who's going to carry your child.
There's a liberation that comes with finding your voice. They can come out about who they really are, what their fears are, what their angers are, what they have suffered, the journey that they've taken.
Before I could scream and before I could shout, he laid me out, covered my mouth, and whispered, "Shut up, bitch." I cried. I kept it all to myself. I was raped 11 days before my 10th birthday.
That was something that was imposed on me. It had nothing to do with me. So you grow up thinking that something's wrong with you, or that you brought this on yourself, or, especially when you keep everything to yourself. I didn't talk to anyone about it.
My rape was a crime so unspeakable, so shameful, that I couldn't even talk about it up until 3 years ago.
We all are recovering for something, and to put our truth out there is very awesome.
I am healing the memories of being raped
I know I've done nothing wrong. Once I do my piece, I feel so relieved. I'm healing myself from the inside.
I got a call from my doctor. She said, your HIV test is positive.
Some people, they get kind of like, they get nervous about the truth.
But you know what? This old heart of mine, I will put it back together, one piece at a time.
We talk about our struggles and we talk about things that happened to us. That weight just lifted off my shoulder and it was just like, I'm kind of like free.
Planned Parenthood? Planned Parenthood? Did anybody mention anything about a Planned Parenthood? Honey, I love me some Planned Parenthood.
I was incarcerated in the San Bruno County Jail, and Rhodessa came out into the jail, and they were doing a play, and I knew a lot of girls in the jail, so I was like, I didn't want to stay in a dorm, so I would go out and see what this was about. And I went out, and I've been there ever since. It's been 24 years.
You know how we all like that alcohol and have to get to the liquor store by 2 o'clock? Yeah. Well, back in the day, me and my girl, we had to be at Planned Parenthood by 4:30 to get them condoms.
The dress rehearsal, I was standing back there. I got really, really emotional. You know, it's just something just magical about on my way to walking out on the stage. I just love it.
You know what I'm talking about. Them condoms.
What I learned from my abortion.
I haven't been incarcerated and I'm not HIV positive. And so I was, wondering like, will I have anything to contribute?
I learned that actually almost every single woman I know has had an abortion.
Yeah, it's true.
That this procedure, the one that no one talks about, everyone has had.
Everyone's story is important. And everyone goes through issues around being a woman and choice in their bodies, no matter what their background is.
He was my first boyfriend. I made him wait 3 years and then I finally gave it up. We had sex and he stopped calling. I was devastated. And 6 weeks later, I was throwing up everything I ate and my period was late. So I went to Planned Parenthood alone to take a pregnancy test. And it came back positive. So I opted to have a medical abortion.
We don't just have abortions and go home and like, woo, that's off my back. I'm dealing with this still, and this was 3 years ago.
That night, I tried to kill myself. Overdosing on my mother's sleeping pill, I woke up in the hospital. I never knew how precious life was until I tried to take my own.
It was hard for me to have an abortion, and I felt so sad and depressed afterwards, but not because I thought that I'd made a mistake, and not because I had issues around morality, but because hormones suddenly dropped.
If I'm pregnant and I decide to have an abortion because I feel like I can't take care of my baby, or the baby's father won't be around, or whatever the reason is, I feel like that's my choice. That's nobody else's business.
Our bodies have been used and abused by people other than ourselves.
Because a lot of women don't have a voice, and we need that. We need all women to come together to have that voice and let the congressman, whoever, this is our body. We should be able to make our own choices.
Kathy, all women love baby. Felicia, all women love baby. Deborah,
all are different. All of us women come from different backgrounds and different places, but we all come together and we do this wonderful thing.
To have that sisterhood, that's pretty unique, and it's worth a lot.
We don't know how it's going to come together until the last week of it, but it always does, and it's always beautiful, and it's always powerful.
MEDEA is my life, and it keeps me grounded. And when I'm not there, if I'm not there for like a month or two, I miss it so much, and it's my soul yearns for it.
you know, it does something, it completes me.
Art could be that parachute, that beautiful thing that can catch us all. I really believe that.
All women love baby. All women love baby. All women love baby.
Our project, Theater for Incarcerated Women, the HIV Circle. Well, we have 5 minutes for questions. I'm so proud that this is sort of one of the things that ends the day, the 400 years of inequities. I think, it's just time for women to step up. Any questions? Don't get out there and go, oh, I should have asked that woman something. Oh, there's someone's here. Yes, ma'am.
I loved all of it. Thank you very much. So my question is, in terms of the stories, your family, in terms of people thinking that you're Asian, can you say more? Like, were you told stories about that as your family? The one that you told, is that based in some ways on stories that you've heard?
And it was very interesting that my mother, who was very dark, there was a strain in her family. My Aunt Maddie, my Aunt Doll, they all were light-skinned with high cheekbones, and my father's mother was light-skinned with high cheekbones. And out of my father's family, there's a whole group of women that look like Gauguin's women. You know, they're very, very heavy, dark hair, but they all have the slanted eyes. And for me, this was a piece that we did for the Rockefeller Foundation. They wanted us to examine bloodlines in America because as we move forward, that's what's, the nation is turning brown is what it is. We're becoming golden, which is why I sort of put it out there today. And it's a good thing, I mean, you go to New Orleans, they ain't having it. I love the blue black people in New Orleans. They're going to be Mandinkas, whatever. But no, that's why I went in discovery. I went to discover what did it mean? Sekou Sundiata, this poet I know, he says, it all depends on the skin you're living in. But what if your skin has all these hues, or your nose is slightly broad, or your eyes are slightly chinky, as they say in my family. But no, it's just been this mystery for me. And my brother, one of my dearest brothers, who just died a year or so ago, he really looked Asian. And I think, how would it? I'm always curious about how it would happen. How would it have happened that the bloodlines really got mixed with Asian, with Chinese and black people? How did that happen? I think it was the railroad. I think it was the railroad through the South that did it. Yeah. So that's. I'm still examining it. I have a book that's coming out, Nudging the Memory, and it's based on my life, but it's also a handbook about how I make theater with incarcerated women and other populations. So keep an eye out. Another question? You got one more time? Thank you. That was a very good question. Anybody over here? Well, go in peace, my friends. Yeah, really. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Go in peace.
So, my friends today, thanks for being here. And please thank Rhodessa.